Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around for the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 showing a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, Coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's going to try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's going to crash. Salas is going to crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is going to do it with no front bumper.
Unbelievable.
Wow. There's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. 1 lap to go at Long Beach. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams.
Yeah, can really hold him off. He looked like he's started to gap Cantonio just ever so slightly. Got about half of a second. It's been hovering right around there. Oh, Cantonio really pushing. He's sideways out of turn number 1. But Rayleigh just keeping that car pointed in the right direction. Nice and smooth, able to keep it going. It's going to be tough. Antonio knows that there's not very many chances, even if he can get close enough to him to make a move. So we'll see as they come through 6 and 7, head toward turn 8 onto the backstretch.
Deeper in the field, nothing changing. Lap traffic ahead. It's Kevin Peak and Bradley Alvis right in front of our race leaders down East Seaside Way. And to turn number 9 for the final time. Lap traffic in the way, and Rayleigh goes for it on Peak. He sends it into turn 9. He knows he can't wait. He knows he can't give an opportunity to Kevin Cantonio. Cantonio's going to take it anyway. Ships it into the hairpin, and Rayleigh's going to get away. Thomas Rayleigh is going to be a race winner in the North American Racing League. A last lap bump and run wasn't enough. This man wins at Long Beach.
Wow, what a finish coming through that hairpin. I thought they were all going to wad it up. We had lap traffic in there, staying in there.
In the early 2000s, Richmond Raceway was one of the premier short tracks in NASCAR. Granted, at the time, there were only a few. That said, the track's asphalt sealer that turned the track a semi-glossy jet black intimidated drivers while also creating a thrilling setting and racy surface. And some of NASCAR's craziest and most replayable highlights came from Richmond in that era. Lately, Richmond seems to be making a comeback despite a decade or so of less exciting races, and this one tonight might just earn Richmond that oh-so-coveted nickname once again. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Richmond, Virginia. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've got Zach Murtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Intentional Wreck Podcast, Rock and Roll 180 at Richmond. Today's coverage is brought to you by the Intentional Wreck Podcast, by Grid Gold, and by Whiplash Creative. And Zach, I'm excited for this race, genuinely. I'm starting to like Richmond a whole lot more, and not just because Joey Logano is now the defending winner in the NASCAR Cup Series at Richmond Raceway, but that does help sweeten the pie just a little bit. No, I think Richmond is genuinely making a comeback in not just in iRacing in circles, but I think in NASCAR in general. It might be the next-gen car, admittedly, which I'm not entirely fond of, but lately Richmond seems to be getting better and better.
Honestly, yeah. I think Richmond is starting to get really, really good into this next-gen era. And honestly, it has me thinking, because I was watching this clip from Door Bumper Clear, and it was Dale Jr. Wait, no, Jr.'s not on Door Bumper Clear. Dale Jr. download, excuse me. I was watching the Dale Jr. download, and he was talking about how Richmond used to put sealer down on the track, and it made the racing really, really good. It was really tacky, it was really grippy for the cars for one race, and then by the next race it was golden. It was beautiful, and it has me thinking, why can't we do stuff like that? give Richmond a little flair, kind of like how they put down the resin in some of the other tracks. But even without it, Richmond usually knows how to produce some really, really good racing. Just don't pull a Carson Hocevar and money shift down into turn one.
Yeah, you know, that would be less than ideal. There's a look at the Richmond Raceway track map, though, and you know, this track has gone through a couple of different rebrands and almost some identity crises, but I really feel like it's coming back into its own. It's becoming a destination once again in NASCAR racing, and certainly is becoming a whole lot more fun to cover again on iRacing. Let's take a look at the point standings coming into this evening's race. This is race number 12 of 24, so right at halfway in this season number 2 of the Full Send Cup Series. And up top, boy, Zach Lockett is cooking lately, and cooking with fire. He is up by more than 100 points over Nathan Brzezowski, and has, what is that, 13, I think? Yeah, 13 to Grant Applegate, so he's starting to get that lead built up for him now. And Charlie Hunter there in the 4th spot. How about Colin Bollinger? We saw a lot of these guys in the mix these last couple of races we've covered at Indianapolis and Iowa, but this is where we're going to put these guys in a bull ring just about, mix them up, and tell them best of luck.
That's it. Just toss them in, wish them luck. I mean, come on. There's got to be more than that.
Pretty much. I mean, what else could you want out of a track like Richmond? Basically, just throw these guys at the track and see what happens. I think that's the best way to do it sometimes. And it'll be a lot of fun seeing what these guys can do over the course of 180 miles. I do want to go ahead and take a look, of course, at the schedule for this season. I know, look, I will say there's a great cut line battle right now between Newbra and Mills, but we still have a couple of races to that chase cutoff. Here you go, Richmond, New Hampshire, Daytona. So it is definitely on our minds, don't worry. But anything can still happen, especially, I think after tonight we have a decent picture. But New Hampshire can be chaotic in these cars, and Daytona's Daytona, frankly. I think that's all it needs to be said there. When we get to Daytona, we'll really have an idea, and then I guarantee it's going to completely flip-flop and change to what we have been expecting to that point. And then Darlington kicks off the chase, just like in the NASCAR Cup Series, and takes us through the fall to Miami. It is also worth mentioning, you guys have about 5 minutes, if even that, to make your fantasy picks. We have gone ahead and started up the fantasy game for the Full Send Cup Series. There you see, new for the Full Send Cup Series, the Whiplash Fantasy Weekly Fantasy Game. All you've got to do, you can still join, and I should say this part first. Join the server. Discord, bottom of the graphic there, discord.gg/8, lowercase d, capital N, capital X, the number 7, capital S, capital D, capital R, capital Q. Will get you into the Discord server. As Zach always says, you can also screenshot that on your phone and then go into your photos and hold down on that link, and it should take you right to the welcome screen for the Pit Stop TV server. You can get in, you can still make your picks. I think we'll give until whenever we roll off the grid. That should be, well, I guess roll off to the green. That should be about 9:04, 9:05 Eastern. So you've got a couple of minutes. Go in. All you've got to do, pick one driver from each of the 3 points groups, pick each stage winner, and pick the race winner. That's literally it. As we go forward, you will have to keep from picking the same driver twice in a row, but that's also it. Zach, I think this is the easiest way you could do fantasy. For racing, at least.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this for all the viewers out there. He's not saying this for you guys. He's saying this for me. He's basically telling me to go make my picks already.
Pretty much. We do have a really great response, I got to say. Not just from the full send drivers, but also from other drivers from other leagues getting in on these games. This is going to be a lot of fun to see how everybody does in this first round of the full send fantasy game here through Whiplash Fantasy. Oh, link is expired. Let me get you a new one, McNeil. Stand by. Let's pop it straight in YouTube chat then. I guess we will have to fix that graphic for next week. That should have been a permalink, but anyways, there you go. There's a link in YouTube chat. So that should be able to get you then.
To the fantasy drivers, there are quite a few people in the fantasy lineup that have chosen the 21. Doesn't look like the 21 is in the session.
No, Dalton Tucker missing this one. A lot of drivers, or a lot of people choosing him. Mostly guys from Nora, honestly. Now, I got to make sure I didn't. No, I did not. I picked Zach Lockett, Terrence Murphy, and Bryce Hedgecock. Those are my 3 drivers for points. I guess we'll go ahead and put out a tag that the 21 is not racing. But there you go. You can see us getting into the race session here. Just a reminder, go make your picks. Limited time to do so. We'll give you until the green flag, basically. That is when the cutoff will be, so whatever time that ends up being. It's super easy. We do this for more than just full send as well. Nora and ARN are still going. The BRB game actually wrapped up last night. Brennan Maddox won that. And speaking of Brennan Maddox, MX Designs is actually giving us, very kindly, a couple of diecast stands for each of these championships. I will put up the diecast, they'll put up the stand, and we'll make some cool stuff happen. Charlie Hunter is about to lead us to the green flag. There you see drivers getting ready for this evening's race. Let's go ahead and meet your starting grid this evening, as don't tell me that's broken. It's not, thankfully. Charlie Hunter will lead us to the green flag in car number 72. Let's go ahead and do this one. Tyler Bowling from the outside of row number 1. Grant Applegate, Colin Bollinger, that is row number 2. They'll be followed by Nate Lesko and Bryce Hedgecock. And boy, already seeing the 18 towards the front makes me happy as far as the fantasy team goes, Zach. But a little farther back, how about Chris Mackey, Zach Lockett? I also chose the 93 car, so already looking decent. As to wrap up the top 10, we got Rayshawn Wingfield and Jeffrey Petty.
Rolling outside the top 10, TJ Ivey and Terry Vincent, row number 6. Behind them, Nathan Brzezowski and Austin Thompson. Surprised to see Brzezowski starting outside the top 10, but I'm sure he'll make those spots up. Brandon Banks and Jesse Graham behind them in row number 8. Row number 9, is going to go to Jamin Bernhardt and Jacob Hoskins with row number 10. Right behind them, rounding out your top 20, it's Kevin West and Nicholas Martinez.
A little deeper, how about Nick Mills, Michael Nubra there battling for the cut line into the chase. They are side by side on the grid. Back in row number 11, it's actually going to be Lane Phillips, and Daniel Holdcroft is listed as 25th, but put there in that position. Not sure what's going on there. Terrence Murphy at the back of the field. I'm not sure why it's not giving us a 24th place car, but regardless, we're about to go green flag racing. A quick look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. 240 laps, 180 miles, just shy of 300 kilometers. Stages at the completions of 60 and 120. 5 change sets. That should be about 120 laps of fuel or so. Green flag on the way here, Zach, from the action track. Green flag at Richmond, 240 coming up. Tyler Bowling, I'm pretty sure, said midweek he wouldn't be here. And here he is. We even have him crossed out on the fantasy post. I will uncross him out. I don't know why he said he wasn't going to be here. Here he is, leading lap number 1 at Richmond Raceway.
The first 3 cars are single file up there at the front, able to run their line respectively off the corner. Bollinger is in that 4th spot, ripping the top side, ripping the middle, really, in 1 car around, back straightaway. That is more than likely going to be our
Thompson.
first caution.
No yellow yet.
We still green.
Car is rolling. They're down the front stretch. We stay green flag through all of that. Austin Thompson with issues at the back. Single file, though, through your top. It looks like 8 positions, maybe 9, as Mackey runs back here in that monster number 9. So that's 8th place. TJ Ivey has got company up top. That's Rayshawn Wingfield.
Hunter setting the fastest lap of the race, running in that 2nd spot as they are fighting hard. Just on the inside of the top 10. This is on board with Brzezowski.
Already.
Spots looking to go up 1 more.
Yeah, already knocking on the door of 10th position, trying to get Rayshawn Wingfield here. Won't do it that time, but he will stay disciplined down low in that number 77. He's got the number 1 of Terry Vincent right behind, and they are making hay on the bottom lane of this racetrack. Mackey also looking forward on the bottom lane. He looks to the inside here of Hedgecock. Somebody's spinning.
Oh, 2 cars.
Petty and Banks, the 24 and the 88. There's Banks' car. He looks okay. Jeffrey Petty, though, took a bit of a hit there to the outside wall, and caution number 1 is out at Richmond Raceway. Let's take a look back here from high above. Petty and the Ghost, number 24. That's Banks down low. And Brandon just locked up the left front, up the racetrack, tagged Petty. He tried to drive out of it, overcorrected. That is about as Richmond of an accident as you're going to get.
Just about. Oh, I was at Richmond not even a week ago, and there wasn't any accidents like that. The only accident that I saw was, who was it? Zane Smith spinning off of turn number 2.
Ah, yeah,
That's about it.
Well, unfortunate stuff there for Petty and for Banks, but they have a chance to get their cars fixed, back in the race, all that good stuff. Here is Petty in the pit lane, taking service on that number 24. Stephen Blevins also through the pits here to get this race rolling. We saw the issue for Austin Thompson. Didn't see what started it for the 23 car, but the result thereof, and then Brandon Banks headed back down to the pit lane in car number 88. So the field's still circulating around the racetrack, Zach. Let's go ahead and look at the weather conditions brought to you by MX Wraps. And yeah, I mean, it's a little warm. That's going to be interesting to follow as the evening goes on. 82 degrees, more or less, ambient temp, 88 track temp. It's not cool, I will say that, but really the humidity is where they'll get you. Frankly, 82 degrees ambient in Richmond this time of year isn't that bad until you add in that humidity, and that's kind of rough.
Yeah, it does tend to get a little rough. It was pretty hot when we were there last Saturday, and I stupidly wore a long sleeve shirt, but I didn't want to get sunburned. But we're heading into the more fall months. Everything's starting to cool down. September starts. Oh my God, September starts next 2 weeks. Oh boy, I'm not ready for summer to be over.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm not. Well, I mean, I'm excited because I'm a fall girly, if you will. I'm the pumpkin spice kind of person, but not excited that the year is just about over. We're already talking chase for the NASCAR Cup Series, and of course, then the Full Send Cup Series. It's exciting. It just means, boy, the year has gone by. Here we go. This race, hopefully, it can go by here soon. Lap 10 underway in the Intentional Wreck Podcast 180. Up in the wall, that was Bollinger off of turn 2. And the gap underneath filled by Nate Lesko and the number 10 underneath. Lesko trying to go forward. There we go. One lap complete off the restart. Bowling right back out ahead. It's Applegate and Hunter side by side. That's second place. Oh, Rusty Rafferty. We have it on some good intel, Zach, that Applegate might be quick if he can get to the top side of the racetrack. Started that restart from the bottom, and sure enough, he goes a little higher there on entry to turn 1. And, you know, we saw Shane Van Gisbergen use a lot more of the racetrack than a lot of folks were in the Cup race last weekend. As you see, they're starting to fan out here inside the top 10. I think as this race goes on, as the track takes a little more temperature and more rubber, importantly, we will see the groove widen out. I just don't know by how much. And if you go back actually to All-American Racing Network here a couple of weeks ago, I think that might have even been this past Sunday, actually. I can't keep track anymore. It was 2 Sundays ago. Regardless, Zach King was using a lot of the racetrack. He was up the racetrack all the way to the wall at times. And I do think we can get to that point in time where we're using most of the racetrack here, but it's going to take a good bit of green flag running. You got to build that heat, got to wear that rubber in. You can't just have stop and go cautions. So far, not a bad look, but 1 caution in 15 laps, still not ideal.
It's funny you use SVG as a comparison with him running the top side of the racetrack, even though it sounded half of the race that he was down a cylinder. Or at least that's what it thought it sounded like, because as soon as Denny Hamlin caught up to him, he started driving away. But on board with Rayshon Wingfield, as he works to fight his way back up into the top 10. So Brzezowski's clear up into that 10th spot. That's all well and away his now. And Wingfield's just trying to fight. You see them upshifting into 5th gear, down to 4th gear. Now, I'm waiting to see if some drivers start using a bit more of an unconventional line, where you specifically use it in 1 and 2. You enter a little higher, run the middle, and then as you cross the center of the corner and you hit the apex, you cut it down through turn 2. So it's like diving in the corner, but taking a bit of a wider apex, and then drive it up off turn number 2. It really helps with the rotation, but it burns up that right rear.
By the way, Zach, I found the driver that was omitted from the grid graphic a little bit ago. It was one of our favorite paint schemes, actually, the 48 of Nicholas Martinez. I believe...
Your favorite paint scheme.
Well, one of, I believe, was not on the grid. Martinez is now on the racetrack. He's 8 laps down. Not sure what was going on for him, but he's got some work to do as he is at the very back end of the field. He's got Holdcroft right ahead, as well as Petty in the 24. Some battles here in the mid-pack. Chris Mackey going backwards. Brzezowski grabs a spot. They are single file just about all the way around this racetrack except for this fight. Ivy, he's got company, and there goes Brzezowski spinning off of turn number 4. He'll find the pavement. I've never seen that work before, but it's going to work this time.
Doesn't he run out of pavement? No, that's at Iowa. Wow, what a job. That's actually pretty freaking cool.
Lost a lot of time, but saved the race car, and, well, he'll just rejoin the back end of the field, I suppose. About a second or 2 back of Jeffrey Petty. This is now a battle for the top 10. Kevin West now into the top 10.
I don't know about you, Andrew, but I just got mesmerized by the sunset for a second. As much as it is only a racing sim at times, the iRacing.com sim does tend to portray the twilight hour a little bit better than most.
Caution!
And the caution's out.
Lane Phillips in the number 4. He's got problems, along with Nick Mills back here, and that's a solid paint scheme. I'm a sucker for anything Gray Ghost. Phillips with trouble. There is the 20 of Mills as well. Slow, and he's got some
right
damage, yeah. See, Martinez is able to pass a few cars, but This is going to be a problem for drivers he was racing around. The 4 is up the road here. Phillips, there he is. Racing with Austin Thompson into turn 3. Thompson just gets there and tags him on exit. Tried to save it, just couldn't. Nick Mills nowhere to go.
Oh. I wouldn't be surprised if the toe is a little bit out on that race car.
Which one?
You know what? Fair point.
Here's the
down back into 3.
Incident again. Yeah, you see Thompson just leans on his left rear, and I mean Lane tried to catch it and then ends up rolling down the banking. And I think, you know, drivers thought there, as he's rolling down the banking like that, he's probably thinking, man, if I can let it roll, I won't heat my tires up as much, they're not locked up, and I can get out of the way. The problem is that Nick Mills had already committed to the inside, and as Phillips let it roll down the banking, Mills had to try and go lower and lower and lower. There just was no room.
I will say, though, did a fantastic job of not running it into the outside wall. These cars have a knack of getting really, really light when they correct back to the right. It's just very hard to be able to counter steer and get the car back to where you need it. And he did a great job keeping it off the outside wall. He could have easily tank slapped it, and there's the contact with Mills. Mills runs it through the grass, takes the asphalt like Brzezowski did, who ultimately gets saved by this caution a little bit. There you see him in the camera shot.
Well, yeah, this is definitely not ideal, I think, for really anybody. I don't think anybody wanted this caution aside from Brzezowski. Everybody's got to now figure out the strategy game. A lot of the leaders staying out so far under this yellow. In fact, everybody except for the caution cars pretty much so far tonight. Thompson, Petty, and Holdcroft, the only 3 pitting under this yellow, it looks like. Not even Thompson heading to the pit lane, so a very calm pit lane for now. And certainly the fuel can stretch far enough within stage 1, but you're going to need tires at some point. I don't think you need them right this second, but you have to start thinking about when you want to throw that first set on for the night. And, you know, we go back to our race details, Zach, only 5 change sets, I believe. Let me double check that, just because I'm paranoid now that we have a detail slightly wrong. Regardless, not a whole lot of tires to use, and yeah, 5 change sets, 6 total. You definitely want to try and save them if you can. Restart zone this time. Tyler Bowling, Charlie Hunter. The Charlie Hunter 72 crew is up and active in the YouTube chat. Green flag. Applegate a good restart on the bottom. Zach Lockett in tow. Caution in the back, and it's Brzezowski.
Oh, no.
He's got issues on that number 77 Chevrolet.
I'm the one who does the jinxing tonight, apparently.
And that car has no drive. He's going to tow back to the pit lane. Oh my gosh, I just saw a preview in our replay transition. Here is the incident. Up through the gears. There's 3rd. Here comes 4th. Might tickle 5th. Yeah, it does. And just into the back end of Blevins that unsettled the car. And wow.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the engine done.
You just heard a big old crunch.
Yep, that signature crunch I talk about oh so often. That was the immediate sound played out by iRacing, and that is day done for Nathan Brzezowski. That's going to take at least about 30-40 minutes. Yeah. Oh, bam. That's a really big hit. For not moving that fast at this racetrack, that is a really big hit. It's also worth noting that's going to change up the power, not the power rankings, but the points a good bit. You know, coming into tonight, here they are. He's been moving up. He got a win last week at Iowa. Or no, it was Indianapolis. It was Charlotte and Indy. Lesko won last week at Iowa. And, I mean, he's looking like one of the best drivers until you get to tonight. Qualified 13th and out within 30 laps here. at Richmond Raceway, so problems for the 77. That's going to hurt his stock as we get ready for the chase. Obviously, I mean, these guys in green, they're not locked in. I want to clarify, that does not mean locked in. That means they are more than one race to the good over the cut line, and so you'll start to see some red position or point deficits on the right side of your screen as we get into New Hampshire and Daytona. Those will be drivers who are more than one race back. For now, though, Brzezowski, I mean, he's ultimately safe, but this is going to put a big dent in things and force him to be a little more on top of it these last couple of races of the regular season at New Hampshire and Daytona.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in a bad points position rolling into Daytona. That's got to be one of the worst positions to be in, Andrew. Ever since we've started rolling into this new era of NASCAR racing, where you have to have these points to be above this cut line, to be eligible for this style of championship, it's changed the racing style. It has realistically brought us a new form of stock car racing. And these guys get elbows out. And if they're in a bad points position going into a track like Daytona, you can guarantee those elbows are going to be out, and they might just have some spikes on them at the same time.
Here we go, 32 laps complete, just past halfway in stage number 1. Racing until the completion of lap number 60 for stage 1. The green flag back in the air. Bowling, Applegate your front row. Look at that battle for third as well. Zach Lockett around the outside of Charlie Hunter. Lesko right behind. He won last week at Iowa. He's got IWP on the car. It's interesting, too. I've never heard of Intentional Wreck podcast before this league, admittedly. But to put Intentional Wreck on the race name, not just the podcast name, that's bold for a short track, but I doubt we get anything like that tonight. These guys have been super respectful the first couple of rounds that we've covered of this series, and I expect that to continue. Some pretty, I mean, not hefty, not overly hefty penalties anyways for incidents, but basically if you do cause any kind of ruckus or problems within the series, admins are going to let you know, hey, we need to curb that. We need to have clean racing. That is the intent, and we've had a couple of mishaps here early, but nothing egregious. It's just racing here at Richmond. It's going to happen.
Couple cars tagging the wall off of turn number 2. As Lockett is hanging tough on that outside line over Hunter. The run is there. He's trying to get clear, and he breaks deeper into the corner. Gets clear of the position, cuts down in front, and holds on to it. As Lesko has a big run up on the top side now. He's looking to try and take third away. Gets clear for fourth.
I love that we've got pretty much all corners of these race cars covered, as there's a caution. Big one in the back, it seems. Several cars involved, at least it looked like. Jacob Hoskins, one of them, as he's got some new damage on his car. And by the way, Nicholas Martinez has parked it for the evening. Here's a look what happened with Hoskins. He's got Blevins to the inside. That's Jesse Graham down there as well. Behind him is Newbraw. In the wall is Hoskins off of turn 2. Let's see what happens down here in 3. Oh, Blevins locks up. Big hit. It's similar to the Banks incident we saw a little while ago with Petty. In this case, though, Zach, Blevins was making a pretty clear move to the inside of Graham, it looks like. Tried to get down there, actually locks up trying to miss Graham, and then there you see, into the wall goes Hoskins.
It's a pretty hefty impact right there. On board with Hoskins here off of turn 2.
And I know Jacob is proud of this. He's proud of this livery on his car. He does not want to scratch it up. Unfortunately, he really does not have a choice here. That's the big hit to the outside wall, and his race is at least going to be impacted. I'd imagine he's got some toe damage out of that. Admittedly, that's less than I thought it would be, but there is a good bit of right offset in that wheel. Well, Zach, the short track racing does not stop here. The next couple of evenings, we are at Oxford Plains Speedway with the... Oh, wow, I really messed that up, didn't I? Well, it's the Sim Auto Racing Association. I really messed that one up. I left the full send graphics there over Sarah. Huh. Look, it's been a day. We had to go get my 3-year-old a haircut today. That was a challenge. That's all I'm going to say. But, hey, the hairs are cut, aside from maybe a few around his ears. But, I look, tomorrow night, instead of full send, that was just a mental lapse on my part. It's not full send to Oxford, although that would be kind of cool. We are taking the Sim Auto Racing Association Oarsman National Tour with super late models to Oxford tomorrow evening for their Oxford 250, brought to you by Only Short Tracks. And then Friday, well, actually, we have Legends on track tomorrow before that for the Whiplash Racing League Legends Tour. 40 laps. One race, 40 laps tomorrow at Oxford, and then it is two 40-lap races, twins, at Oxford the night after with street stocks as well. So tomorrow, Legends, Supers. Friday, Legends, street stocks. Here we go. Restart on the way. Green flag is out. 41 complete, 19 to go. Here's the run down to turns 3 and 4. You see Lockett right in behind Applegate. And again, Tyler Bowling hangs on to the lead. Applegate way up.
That's a big swing to the top side. He might lose track position here. The run carries, though. Hangs on to the second spot. Lockett getting clear for third.
At least trying to. Does finally get clear of the 72 car for the time being. Hunter not letting up at all. Let's see, where does Applegate go down here in 1? Right back to the bottom side in that fish speed number 57. Oh, a couple of cars grabbed the fence back there through the top 10. One of them, I think, was Hedgecock in the 18. He nearly gets hit there by Mackey. And these guys are battling back here for the final few stage point positions. It's a top 10 that gets stage points. We're on board with 12th.
If he's itching for stage points, it's a track blocker in front, one in the wall. Down to the inside, trying to move forward.
It's one of those juicy spider cars for Terry Vincent in the number 1. He is stuck right behind Chris Mackey and Bryce Hedgecock, battling for the 10th position. Mackey has got the edge for now. Look at that, Terrence Murphy right behind these guys. I picked him in fantasy today.
Oh, lock up right
there. A little bit of contact.
That's a left front lockup from Vincent. And that's a common occurrence, Andrew, at these short tracks. It is very, very easy to lock up a left front tire at places like Richmond or Martinsville. They run so much load on those right fronts that the left side gets really light, and when it's expecting some resistance and doesn't get it, it's pretty easy for it to pretty much go to the floor.
Hey, this Bryce Hedgecock guy is right between us. It's like I'm on one end of 40 here in North Carolina, you're on the other end, and Hedgecock is somewhere in the middle, blocked from Murphy on Banks. Big move there out of these two battling, and this is only for the 13th spot. I wonder, so Banks does have a pit stop to his record. It was not for tires, though, but he is still driving back through this field a bit, trying to get back to the top 10, if at all possible. Laps are winding down here in stage 1, only about 11 to go.
Still side by side here. Across the start-finish line and down into turn number 1. This is another common occurrence at short tracks, Andrew. When you get caught up in these kinds of situations and you are just racing tight with each other, it feels like a track blocker. There's nowhere for anybody else to go. It's like riding down the highway and all 3 lanes, someone is just sitting right next to another person. Like, you're sitting in the left-hand lane, and you want to go fast, and that person is just hanging there, not moving, and staying in your lane. That's what 2 cars racing in front at Richmond feels like when someone is trying to move forward.
Stuck side by side, Banks and Murphy. This is for position number 13. A little farther up, battle here, Rayshawn Wingfield and TJ Ivy. Side by side for 8th. Wingfield, trouble off the corner. He'll fall back in a 9th spot. That now gives Chris Mackey an opportunity to roll the outside. Oh, watch out. Wingfield at the racetrack. That pulls Mackey back, and now Terry Vincent has got a shot. 3 very different beverages on your screen right there. Oh. A little loose there for Vincent. Mackey back around the outside, and all while this stuff gets going, Zach, there are some battles at the front of the field. How about this? Brant Applegate rolling the top side. Tyler Bowling trying to hold him at bay. I don't know how much longer this will last. Applegate getting some great runs. Up the racetrack that time goes Applegate.
That's a big run up on the top side. He gets right on the back bumper of the race leader. He sends it deeper on the brakes, down into turn number 1, rolls the top side, crosses down off the wall. And he's getting big runs. Goes to the bottom this time in 3 and 4.
Applegate
loses that momentum.
really working this 99 car over. No dice just yet. Goes to the outside again here in 1 and 2. Going to try and get that run down the backstretch. And he will get the run, but he is now a little too far back, I think. At least this lap. He's going to have to work right back to him. He's not going to have many chances to make a move here on Bowling, that's for sure. Oh, man. He just stays on the gas so much longer. Throws it in up top. He'll pull it down, try to get a run. He's trying to use 1 and 2 to get to the inside of Bowling in 3.
Got to try a little bit harder through 1 and 2 here. Gets to the top side. He's on the quarter panel. Now they're clear through the transition on the bottom.
Still trying to work him over. Some battles deeper in the top 10. TJ Ivy racing with Kevin West. This is for 6th, and then back down around that cut line for stage points. It is still Mackey and Wingfield over Vincent. So no change of positions here just yet. At least not to change up who would be inside the top 10. Here we go. Coming around to the final lap of stage number 1. It's Bowling versus Applegate. 1 to go in the stage.
Applegate taps the wall right there off of turn 4. Runs right to the top side once again in 1 and 2. Loses that ground through the center of the corner, and it's too much gone, Andrew.
Takes a look, does Applegate. Puts his right front right on the left rear for just a moment, but it's no dice. Tyler Bowling wins stage number 1 at Richmond Raceway. 60 laps complete just like that. Vincent, by the way, able to get ahead of Mackey for 10th position. And there is your stage 1 winner. That's a good first stage, I feel like. Sets the tone for the evening. Some mishaps here and there, some self-spins. That's to be expected for this racetrack, Zach. But overall, really clean racing, I will say. It's very clear. It's still very hard to pass. But these guys are giving it their best. As here we go, into the pit lane. Everybody gonna need a set of tires.
Tires do be important. Gotta love putting 4 fresh Goodyears on this those racing machines to keep these guys in a good standpoint as they roll into their pit boxes. I'm interested to see how things shape up like they did at Iowa. If you remember, the driver who won the stage did not exit the pit lane as the race leader going into stage 2. So let's see how they shape up. Up on the jack simultaneously right there.
Here we go. Here's some cars coming around the bend. Kevin West trying to roll around. It'll be Bowling right back off the pit lane.
That is going to be the most synchronized drop from the jack for 2 cars that I've ever seen.
And we will once again be dialing up Tyler Bowling. We talked to him a couple of times last week at Iowa Speedway and now at Richmond Raceway. We're talking to Tyler Bowling, stage 1 winner here at Richmond, and you know, obviously it helps. It's bonus points, I guess, just not for the championship as far as carrying IWP on the hood tonight. But Tyler, a solid start. How do you feel?
Pretty good. Definitely, Applegate there was definitely making me nervous towards the end. So, yeah, I mean, feel pretty good so far. Looking for a longer run this next stint and see how that goes.
Yeah, we noticed it's a little warmer than honestly I expected. The track temp actually has come up since the start of the race, up to 90 degrees now as we get this caution. Is that any concern, kind of how much you guys are abusing the tires?
No. I'd say more so the rubber buildup and just trying to pay attention to see how much that's piling up on the bottom and then trying to adjust for that, kind of going forward and stuff.
And of course, we've seen this next-gen car be really, really good at places like Charlotte, Kansas, the big intermediates, but 3 in a row here, shorter tracks. We've gone from Iowa to now Richmond, and it's New Hampshire next week. Are they all going to be in your wheelhouse?
I would hope so. Anything that abuses that right front real good, I feel like I have a decent advantage at least on the long run most of the time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Fair enough. Best of luck here in stage 2.
All right, thank you.
We're getting back down to his teammates, Hedgecock and Lesko, and what a great start for driver 99 here, getting a stage win to kick off the evening. He got one last week as well. It was Lesko in stage 1, I believe, and then Bowling in stage 2. Now it's Bowling in stage 1. Lesko starts third. Let's see what he can do. Green flag on the way, stage 2 underway. Bit of a stack up there, but we are green. Side by side for the 3rd spot. Lesko's got some front bumper damage, and Ivy, he's loose off of turn number 4. He checks up all the way on the inside. He's going to fall outside of the top 10.
Up front, though, side by side for the 3rd spot. Lesko, lock it. Now they get single file down into 3. The top 5, top 6, maybe 7 or 8 cars single file on the racetrack now. And look at this field, down into turn 1. I've said it more than once. I will continue to say it. God, I love these speed shot cameras.
I will say, whatever you think of this Gen 7 car, does sound pretty darn great. Battle here at the top spot. Applegate finally gets that run, sends it underneath. Bit of a slide job almost in turns 3 and 4, and he has got the top spot. Here comes the crossover now from Bowling. A nice move there to take over the race lead, but it's not done yet. Bowling back to the inside in turn 1.
Trying his hardest to get back to it. Gets a little loose off of turn number 2. Down into the corner.
I'd say deal done. He's
Applegate.
got it.
Yeah, he has got it locked down. In charge of the race lead after stage 1, and now well, he's got nothing to worry about as he rolls into the clean air.
And, you know, when we took over at Indianapolis, Applegate, you know, right up there in the point standings, tied with Zach Luck at that point in time. And so clearly he knows how to get it done. We just haven't seen much of that yet from this guy. He has not really had an opportunity. I mean, he's had opportunities, but he hasn't really been that same Grant Applegate, it looks like, from the first 9 races of the season. This is him getting into the race lead, finally putting that Ford Mustang Dark Horse in the wind and controlling the field here. Lap 72 of 100 or 240, a long ways to go still. It's going to wear on these guys. And I mean, listening to some conversations from drivers over the weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series race, you know, it's each lap at Richmond feels like 2 laps somewhere else oftentimes. And so 200, for example, or 240. In this case, it's going to feel like 480 somewhere else, at Bristol maybe. This is going to be a very physical race for these drivers. I know they aren't actually in the cockpits in the 130 degree, 140 degree temperatures, but that does not mean these guys are not using their bodies to control these race cars through their sim rigs. It still takes absolute physical and mental focus to do this right, especially at this level. I mean, the I ratings in excess of 5,000 in some cases, it looks like. Scratch that, in excess of 4,000 at least. Regardless, some really good drivers in this field. You've got to be absolutely perfect.
You are right, Andrew. That takes a toll on a driver trying to be mentally, physically perfect throughout the course of a long race. It's exhausting to try and keep that up, even for sim racing. And I feel like that's a weird takeaway to have sometimes, because a lot of people have said video games aren't a sport. Video games don't really require a lot of skill. Yeah, they do. And this is wild proof of that, with how much some drivers go through to make sure that they are prepared for these races, these longer races. It's tough.
On board is Zach Lockett, 4th position. Look at who's right behind him. The next couple of spots right behind. Very interesting. You've got Kevin West in 5th, and then Chris Mackey, Bryce Hedgecock. That's your 5th, 6th, 7th positions. There are some battles farther back. How about this? Charlie Hunter deep in the field. We saw him look really, really good in stage 1, Zach. I'm looking at his pit time. He spent some extra time in the pits under that stage caution. And so sure enough, our pole sitter this evening stuck back here in 13th spot, looking for 12th. No dice, not yet. Now he's got an opportunity. Terry Vincent side by side now with Banks just ahead of these guys. Staying on, well, going back on board here with Hunter. They've also got Colin Bollinger right behind them with Terrence Murphy now to the inside. So some big time battles here in the midfield of the racetrack, or the field I should say. 80 laps complete. That's 3rd distance. A good battle shaping up here.
I can't believe how far into this race we already are now.
Haven't you learned anything?
No.
Never ever attempt the fates.
Says the self-entitled Chaos Bringer.
Yeah, but lately you're saying, man, this race is going by quick. I thought you wanted to get to bed at a good time tonight. I know you've got work early tomorrow.
I do. And we're already closing in on halfway, and I say that, and halfway's 120. We're 40 laps away from that. We clicked through 40 laps, even with a couple cautions, in about 28 minutes. So we should be at halfway, if not by about 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Hush. Silence. Let's not jinx this race.
Look, man, all it takes is confidence. That's all you gotta have, is confidence.
Well, Richmond is a racetrack, and it's worth talking about here because we heard the conversation from Bowling talk about wanting more green flag racing. This is a racetrack where you can either have really good green flag racing for a long time, or you end up with a lot of cautions. And you might have, periods where there are more green flag laps completed, and then you still have some cautions, as there's Austin Thompson down to the pit lane in the 23 car. He's going to go a lap down and take service. You can have still a decent mix, but by the end of the night, there will be a theme. It's either going to be green flag at Richmond or cautions at Richmond. One of the two, as here's the battle for 3rd spot. Around the outside, here comes the 93 of Lockett. So sure, we've had relatively decent green flag racing right now, to this point, but all it takes is a couple of cautions back to back, and any field can get stuck in the trenches of cautions at Richmond Raceway. It's just part of it.
One more car exiting the pit lane back there, and you're right, getting stuck in the trenches at Richmond is not where you want to be. This track has a weird knack. So it's got the same shape as Iowa. Obviously, it's a little bit smaller. Roughly. It's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit different. But it's got its own characteristics. While it may be similar, it's different in many ways. And Richmond itself, if I'm not mistaken, it has less banking than Iowa.
Yes, a whole lot less.
Yeah,
much
less banking
flatter.
than Iowa. It's such a different perspective in how you drive it. You know, these guys were rolling the middle, rolling the top last race. Now you've got guys just ripping along the yellow line or ripping way on the top and cutting off the wall to get a straight low exit. While we may have gone from one short track to another, it's such a different, or even in some ways similar form of racing.
So just saying rolling is kind of nondescript. What is usually, in my experience, a bit faster at Richmond, and I can certainly be told wrong, and sometimes we see the top line work, but kind of a diamond to the corner, typically, and you can do it in a couple of different ways. As you mentioned, a straighter exit off the corner is what you're aiming for here on both ends of the racetrack, though. That's the theme, and I think that is similar to Iowa. The way you get there is a little bit different. You can have an early apex, wash up a little bit, kind of park the car in center, point it back down, try to use a little bit of the brake. That's more of a, I'd say, traditional stock car way of doing it. In this next-gen car, I think you want to roll the top side and make that turn down from the top of the racetrack, or at least a lane up. And then, as you use that banking to turn you back down the racetrack, you mat the gas. And the trouble with Richmond on iRacing specifically is when the banking falls away, you lose all your grip. It's goodbye, sayonara, rear tires spinning. And that has been an issue that has plagued iRacers for at least 10 years. I know, because I signed up for this sim over 10 years ago now, and when I got Richmond, it was the exact same way. Nothing has changed in that regard. Corner exit here has always been difficult. So you want to get that turn made so you can mat the gas and get out the corner, but you still have to be so careful. Eggshells under the pedal to get just enough gas without breaking rear grip. It's tricky for sure, but that's kind of the idea of Richmond. You need to get a good straight exit off the corner, and getting that good straight exit will also minimize that wheel spin. If you keep a bunch of wheel in it as you fly it off the corner, the front end is chattering up the racetrack, it just can't grip. That is when you're in trouble. You've already burnt up the right front tire a little bit, and you really need to change the approach to your corner.
Well, even talking about changing the approach to the corner, Andrew, it's hard to do that sometimes at a track like Richmond, because you could so very easily burn off the right rear a lot faster than you burn off the right front. It's just all in how the car handles. Now, I've noticed, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I've noticed a lot more at flat tracks, or flatter tracks, it's easier to burn that right rear off than it is to burn the right front off, unless seemingly you're in a car like a late model stock car or modified, something along those lines. In a big, heavy, full-body stock car, it's really easy to burn that right rear off the race car, just because you're trying to put the power down a lot more. You don't have the banking to give you that roll speed through the center. You don't have the banking to help you coast that car along and keep your roll speed up. You are generating the speed that you need with your foot. And like you said, you need to have eggshells, but sometimes when you get in traffic, you get a little impatient, you can burn that right rear off.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe we'll have you talk to the next stage winner, which certainly looks to be Grant Applegate, and pocket some of these questions, ask him. The best way to get a good answer of how to drive this racetrack is to ask the drivers. Let us stop talking about it. Ask the drivers straight up. Oh, but you're not in the car tonight. Track conditions are always a little different. We have an idea of what to do, certainly, but it can always be a little bit different in practice. As here's a battle between Hedgecock and Mackey, 6th and 7th. Behind them, you see that bright green car of Bollinger, the bright red car of Wingfield, and then Banks currently inside the top 10. Those guys fighting it out for the final stage point positions. And it was a kind of not stop and go, I'd say touch and go, stage 1. We had a handful of yellows. We are green all the way through stage 2 so far. So yeah, 4 cautions for cause in stage 1. Well, but I'm noticing these guys are using... You're kidding me.
I told you! I called it! I told you who's jinxing things now, Andrew, and there it is. Caution is out on the racetrack. Banks is around in turn 3.
What's the protocol here? Do I mic up and claim this caution?
Yes, you do. You do. And you are not allowed to tease me for the rest of the broadcast because you kind of did that one to yourself.
I was going to say, and you see it here, I think that might be the cause of this crash. These guys are running all over the racetrack, and Banks just never realized they were 3 wide. Straight up into Wingfield, and around he went. Charlie Hunter gets away. He was the one that made it 3 wide on the outside. Watch this run into the corner. Hunter rolls the top, gets to the outside of Wingfield, and clearly Banks never got the memo. There was a bit of a bubble back left from Wingfield, but regardless, the miscommunication of the space these drivers had, that part is very, very clear. One more look.
Well, it certainly sets up for an interesting way to end the stage.
Oh, Toyota inflatables there in the way, but you still get the gist of what goes on there. As I gotta say, great job by everybody else to miss the number 88. As he was broadside in the middle of the racetrack. Pit stops for most of the field, but Zach varying in what they actually did. So your top 2 stay out. That's Blevins and Banks, actually, who just got spun around in that caution. They each stay on the racetrack. Hedgecock is the first one to pit. But looking at his timer, I'd say that's 2 tires with the new accelerated pit stops here, and it's 4 for most of the field on back. It might have even been fuel only for Hedgecock. I'd love if you could check. I mean, that... I don't think there's a benefit to taking fuel only. But that is a really fast stop to not be fuel only. Especially when you look at Bollinger back here, 7.8 seconds. That looks a little more consistent with 2 tires. Same for Ivy.
Looking back at everything, I mean...
Well, does the 18 go up on Jacks?
Ivy took 2 tires. Ivy took 2 tires.
But does the 18 go on Jacks?
Looking now. I was not looking in the right spot. Well, yes, he does. 2 tires.
There you go. 2 tires for Hedgecock. That'll be interesting here. Applegate, top side of row number 2. He's got 4. Green flag in the air. The lights come on right as we get restarted. Green flag, 105 complete. Wow, Grant Applegate around the outside of Brandon Banks. Hedgecock up to 2nd. He's working the outside of Blevins. He's going to have the spot into turn number 3. Applegate moves ahead into 2nd. Bowling is stuck down low. Applegate around! We're going to wad him up on the front stretch.
Oh, boy.
Lockett involved, Mackey involved, adrenaline racing, or adrenaline spiking. The 9 in trouble, there he is. He's got left front damage. The 93 with issues.
Applegate's taking claim for the caution as well, listening in on driver radio.
I would hope so. He got loose, and he might not know that there was stuff behind him, but regardless, at the front of all of that was the 57 spinning. Here's a look back at the restart. There's the lights coming back on and everything. So here's the first lap. You see Blevins with that big hole shot, and that helped Hedgecock get ahead of Banks. Let's just ride on board here, though, with Lockett the rest of the way through to the yellow. And this, I don't know if this is best or worst case scenario for the 18. They just stack up, nowhere for Lockett and company to go. And I think ultimately, Zach, it's fair to say, the secondary incident starts because of Applegate spinning. They were checking up and nobody could go anywhere. Watch this stack up. Yeah, I mean, Bollinger straight in the back of the 93. Petty involved again. Holdcroft got a piece of it. That's a classic cautions breed cautions moment.
Just about. I'm trying to look at my notes here. I went to go look to see where the stage cautions were again.
60, 120, the end.
Gotcha. I went to go look at the broadcast doc, and I was like, it's probably in there. I just want to make sure I was refreshing myself for a second. But you brought up the point of this helping the 18, of this helping Hedgecock, and honestly, I think it will, as you see them all piling in.
Like that for these guys. Mackey as well, getting a big piece of this incident. Here's his perspective from high above. I guess not really his perspective, but his outlook from high above. Hunter and West down low. Do they get a piece? Oh, and Mackey did go around on his own. So that's kind of...
Separate?
Yeah, I mean, that's like the cherry on top for the whole thing. I'm not sure if that'll get lumped in as he maybe shares fault, but definitely the night being extended a tad bit. It is a short track, though. And this is honestly on pace for what I would expect from Richmond Raceway, as there's Hoskins leaving the pit lane, and the 23 of Thompson will follow right behind. They both have a lot of damage. Terry Vincent is back in this race. He's a lap down after all of this. Rayshawn Wingfield, 7 laps down, still in the pits, as he's got damage that he is repairing from that incident with Brandon Banks a caution ago. Into the restart zone this time by, we'll see Hedgecock and Bowling share the front row, as they have those inverse Intent Rec podcast paint schemes. Green flag on the way for Bryce Hedgecock. There we go, 9 to go, stage number 2. Oh, the racetrack. Levins in the middle, big hit. Nick Mills onto 2 wheels. And we are green still for now. We can't be for much longer. That 20 car is absolutely destroyed up the racetrack here in 3 and 4. No caution yet. We will keep rolling, but Nick Mills is going to need to fight that car down to the grass. Park it. Here's your top 5 or so. That was a massive, massive hit. Hunter! Hunter off of turn 4. He goes for a slide. There's the caution.
Coming out a little late, all things considered.
And he is going to get that car righted. Wow, everything is coming undone for these guys. We have seen quite the turn of events here at the back end of stage number 2. I do want to go back to the Nick Mills incident first.
And that will be stage as well.
Oh, really?
Just confirmed from race control. That will be stage.
All right, well, here's the incident for Nick Mills. He's going to get tapped there by Holdcroft. Up the racetrack, bam, and up on the hood of Jamin Bernhardt. That was a huge, huge hit. You see Applegate get on by. And yeah, that right front was collapsed. And then off of turn 4, the following lap, watch the 72 here of Charlie Hunter. Started this race on pole. That seems to be a theme for him. I believe he was on pole at Indianapolis as well. Probably should have won that race. Brzezowski got the best of him. But here's Hunter on the outside of Kevin West. And we saw it more or less live. He just got loose. Couldn't hang on to it. And so this means Bryce Hedgecock is your stage number 2 winner, and it's a split decision. A lot of cars pitting under this caution, a lot of cars not. Bollinger first off the pit lane. He takes 4 tires along with TJ Ivey. Terry Vincent gets the wave around, or the lucky dog rather, but Jesse Graham will pit for 4. Zach Lockett pits for 4. Blevins and Hunter pit for 4. While this guy will be credited with the stage 2 victory. Teammate to Tyler Bowling. I believe the last 4, beginning stages of these races within the series now belong to the same team. Now let's go ahead and bring in Bryce Hedgecock, who that is a huge stage win for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. I was just telling Tyler and Nate I need to stack all the points I can coming down to the cut line here, so that worked out perfect for me, hopefully.
And Zach, you had some questions about the handling of these race cars. Clearly, Hedgecock has got to figure it out. Anything you want to ask him?
Yeah, no, it's usually a thing that I see with the more flatter style racetracks. While Richmond does have some banking, it's not as prevalent as it is at other tracks. And do you feel like you're burning off the right rear or the right front over the course of the run?
Right front for sure. It starts to plow about 30 laps in, so yeah, definitely the right front. I wish I could get on the right rear, but just how this fixed setup is, it leans on the right front pretty good.
Well, Bryce, good to talk to you here at the end of stage number 2. A bit of an early end to the stage. Does that change anything for you guys here in stage 3?
No, sir. I think same strategy as before. Just see what happens.
Fair enough. Best of luck.
All right, thanks, guys.
We'll get it back down to his teammates. Intentional Bike Podcast Racing. It's the Intentional Bike Podcast cars who win stages 1 and 2. Green flag on the way to begin stage number 3. 122 to go. Green flag back in the air. And Zach, while we effectively are at halfway, we did not hit halfway by 10 p.m. Eastern.
At around 10 o'clock.
That's fair. That's fair. Kevin West at a 3rd spot here on the restart. He is giving some bother to Tyler Bowling. Again, some mixed strategies at the front. Your top 6 all stay out. That's Hedgecock, Bowling, West, Lesko, Phillips, and Bollinger around to the back, Hoskins. Bernhardt stopped up with him. And already right back to a halt. And what do you know, a caution right on lap 120 anyways. Here's Hoskins. Free off of turn 2. The tower was in the way there briefly, the scoring pylon, but you see spun around and got collected by the 12 of Bernhardt. Nothing Bernhardt could have done there. And so, another quick stoppage here, as we will see some cars pit. Our leaders do not. The first on the pit lane will be Terrence Murphy. He's in for service and will be followed by a handful of others. Chris Mackey, one of them. Jeffrey Petty stays in it. He's in the pits. Winkfield, hey, he's back around the racetrack here. He is 7 laps down, trying to get back into this. And how about this, Zach? Austin Thompson is finally back on the lead lap. And he is in Discord. May as well dial him up
I'm sure
really
he's going to
quick.
be happy about that one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk to the driver of the 23, who is still fighting a ton of right front suspension damage. Austin, we saw a bit of the spin early in this race. What happened there, and is there any way you can get back in this thing with 4 wheels that point the right direction?
I don't think so, man. It's not looking great. I'm just trying to salvage a day, hope people wreck out, and get a few positions if I can.
You mentioned just trying to salvage the day. It's obviously important in this kind of chase-style format like NASCAR has gone back to, and like you guys are now racing on this season. How important, truthfully, is it for you to stay in this race, get all that you can? You're only 49 above that cut line coming into this evening's race.
Yeah, super important, man. 49 points above the cut line. I got to get every single point that I can. I was hoping to get stage points. I thought I was in a good position, had good speed, but just I got caught up in some really, really crazy stuff going on.
Of course, Richmond at one point in time was known as the action track. I still like to use that tagline. Does that match what you've seen behind the wheel tonight?
Yes and no. Just the action has been kind of unnecessary and pointless, you know?
Fair enough. We are only just getting to halfway. Austin, best of luck. I know it's been a rough one for you, but keep your head up. We'll be talking to you later, I'm sure.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you all.
We'll get him back down to his teammate of Grant Applegate at TI Racing. And I should clarify, I don't know that we'll be talking to him again tonight, but at some point in the future, I'm sure we'll be talking to Austin Thompson in that number 23. Around to, I guess, officially begin stage 2 again, or stage 3 rather. Green flag on the way, just past halfway now. We are racing again here at Richmond. With that move at a turn 3, let everybody fanning out across the racetrack, too wide through most of the field. And look who's into this top 5, Zach. Lane Phillips, that 4-car who had troubles earlier, trying to stay up here in the top 10. He is on older tires, holding that track position for now, down to 6th.
Bumping around, and Zach Lockett's going to look to make it 3 wide through the middle. Thinks better of it, stays in line right here. As Bowling sets the fastest lap of the race so far.
Here's the onboard for Zach Lockett. Running in the 9th position. Had that crash a little while ago that he was involved in. Thankfully the car okay. At least mostly. As he stays in it here this evening. Battle for the 3rd spot. Lesko and West, the 01 and the 10. As they navigate turns 3 and 4, they've got Applegate bearing down on them. Phillips right behind, then Bollinger. There truly is nowhere to go in this field. You cannot slip up for a moment if you get out towards the front. You've got to be held honest the entire way. You've got to be really, really on it. Look, you can have great competitive racing like this at any level of iRating, and this is kind of a middle-of-the-road field, it looks like, but everybody is so close in terms of actual skill level, not just iRating, but actual skill level. They are just packed on top of each other here.
Short track racing, Andrew, always on top of one another, no matter if you are racing for position or fighting to stay on the lead lap. On board here with Lane Phillips running in the 6th position, right behind Applegate in that 57 car. We see him still ripping on the top line. I wonder how that's going to work out for him as the lights continue to go down. Seems to be working out pretty well. Let's go to the inside. Big send on West. That's some contact right there.
Lesko trying to get the spot down to the inside here in turns 1 and 2. He gets it. West gives up that position. And now Applegate tries to fire back. West gets back to the inside of Lesko here down into turn 3. Really good fight. You're watching it from on board Grant Applegate's machine. And oh, West a little sideways off the corner that time. Applegate right to his bumper.
Ooh, Applegate in the wall.
I honestly think that's just part of the line he's running. This is a very, very unique line. You aren't seeing a whole lot of drivers do it. But he is making time up there. And the biggest trouble for somebody running that kind of line is he is the one doing it, right? And he is therefore the one cleaning the track off for himself. Nobody else really seems to want to go as high up as he does. So he's entering all those marbles into each corner that he does that in. And even when he tries to run a more middle line, since he's running the top side, there becomes an island of marbles just under that top line. So if he runs through that, he can make it worse for himself. And marbles, of course, are the little bits of rubber that come flying off the race car, or the tires, I should say. I guess they can fall off the race car too. We've seen plenty of times in this next-gen car, chunks of discarded rubber get stuck up in the wheel wells, but point being, iRacing does simulate that, the little chunks of rubber, and it does affect the contact patch of the tire. That gives you less grip. If you've got a bumpy, almost, studded snow tire, pretty much, as you're off into the corner, that's not going to make a whole lot of contact with a smooth, at least relatively smooth, surface of asphalt here. So you want to avoid that if you can, but clearly he's making it work in terms of speed, and it's hard to argue with that, Zach. I just don't know how long it'll last. As here's a move to the inside of Kevin West for car 57, gets into him. Hang on here, guys.
Getting a little dicey. Applegate sends it down low to the inside. Look at those brake rotors glowing. We are at that point in the race where they have been putting so much pressure into those front brakes. Now, the iRacing.com sim does not simulate brake fade as well. Applegate slides it up the racetrack under braking, but these guys have just been on it so far. You can just see, you can tell by how much those rotors are glowing.
West finally gives the 4th position up. Does try to get back to the inside here. He will get there at Applegate, but I do think Applegate is going to roll that top side nicely and, yeah, have him cleared as they exit turn number 4. So the top 5 gets settled single file. Some battles deeper in this field. Here's a look at Holdcroft and Petty. This is for the 15th position. Also, you've got Charlie Hunter and Terrence Murphy fighting. This is for 13th and 14th. A little farther up, TJ Ivey racing with Lane Phillips now. This is for 7th. Of course, no more stages. These guys are racing this to the end, and they're good on fuel, so it really becomes how you want to treat the tires. I say we're good on fuel, actually. A lot of these guys did not pit right at the end of that stage. I think they're all assuming they will have to pit one more time in this stage, and that's fair if you want to do so for tires, but I do think technically you can stretch them the entire distance. It's just not going to be a lot of fun to do so, and you might risk blowing one as these two battle side by side for 7th. Ivy around the outside. And that means Lane Phillips gives up position number 7 via the bottom of the racetrack.
Technically, they should be able to make it on gas from here. Like you were talking about, pitting for tires, it doesn't seem viable to give up at this stage in the race now. If it stays green, you've just about made your bet, and you're going to have to lay in it.
Well, I mean, there are guys that will have to pit still. Bowling, Hedgecock, they did not pit at the stage break. Or if they, well, I guess they pit at the, no, they pitted right before. They stayed out at the stage break. I recall that now. They had pitted a little bit before the end of stage number 2. They will have to make one more trip down the pit lane. I am sure of that. They might even be able to stretch the fuel out, Zach, but that's asking more of the tires, more heat cycles. Even if you're not getting as many green flag laps on them, I think you're going to need to get tires at some point to avoid a puncture, a tire letting go. I think that's what it's going to come down to. As aside from Applegate in the top 4, you have 3 IWP cars. Applegate is the one spoiling their fun for a 1-2-3. He's up into 2nd.
Trying to hang on to the 2nd spot, as Hedgecock is not letting him go easy. As I say that, they get clear of each other. Applegate clearing away to the 2nd spot, trying to get the lead back. Now, you could say this is a bit of a rebound run, but we saw Applegate at the front of the field already. But you saw him get into that big old smash him up towards the end of the 2nd stage.
That was ultimately his own doing.
Yeah. And so he has spent that time working himself back through the field, getting back up to the front, and now running in the 2nd spot again. We see him running that top line, utilizing that right, I want to say that right front load. I don't know. Just finding whatever works, really. I've never understood it. I will continue to not understand it. And speaking positive vibes into the universe, one day when I am in the NASCAR Cup Series and trying it for myself, I still won't understand how the outside line at Richmond even remotely works.
I will say, it is interesting how we talk about those issues a little while ago for Applegate and how he's now maybe abusing the tires a little bit running that top side. Regardless, he has gone from self-spinning in the middle of stage number 2 and going to the back of the field now up into second position. It's only been about 50 laps, and there have been cautions in there that have certainly, I'm sure, helped him a little bit, but probably about 40 green flag laps at most since that spin for Applegate. And here he is, second spot, trying to run Bowling back down. You know, we will do our typical driver of the day vote here soon. He has to be in consideration just for that reason alone. Sure, he spun himself, but he's also recovering and driving straight back through the top end of this field. Might not have a whole bunch of laps led just yet. I mean, 34, not bad, but he definitely looks to be potentially the strongest driver at the moment.
Hard to bet against him. Oh, as he taps the wall a little bit harder than he has in previous laps.
And looking at Bowling here, we were talking with Austin Thompson a little while ago. Bowling is not in that different of a position. Of course, with the stage win tonight, it's going to get him a bunch of points over Mills, even towards the top end of stage number 2. That's going to help him, but enters tonight just 62 above the cut line, and sure, Nick Mills being out of the race in 24th. Bowling winning at least, well, winning the one stage and finishing decently in the other. That's all going to help him, but that just shows that even if you're one of the stronger drivers in the series, you are never truly safe until the chase is actually upon us and you're actually finally in to the chase, or if you lock in early, obviously. But it just goes to show you can be a really good driver, still be on that cut line, and be having some bad luck and just end up not making it. Battle for 6th, and it looks like TJ Ivey gets the spot. He's looking good tonight. You know, we don't know a whole lot about TJ Ivey. Yet here he is, started 11th tonight. Doesn't have any laps led yet, of course, but as he's been as low as 12th position, he is marching right back through. Kind of a quiet evening so far for the 8-car Zach, but as this run goes on, he is looking better and better. And I've been noticing for a couple of runs now, just didn't really know how much water it would all hold. Well, he's looking good.
How much water it could all hold?
Yeah.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah. You not heard that saying before?
You're gonna have to run that one by me again, Chief.
Like if a theory, for example, doesn't hold a lot of water, then, well, it's not a very good theory. There's holes in it.
Doesn't hold a lot of weight?
Yeah, you could say that too.
You Southerners and your weird way to say
Excuse me? Born in Bullhead City, Arizona, learned to speak in Wallow County, Maine. There's nothing there. Started kindergarten in, the suburbs of Dallas, Texas. Then back out to Arizona. But then back out to Arizona. So I learned to talk up in New England. And then down to Texas to begin kindergarten. Back out to Arizona within kindergarten. Spent time there, and then in middle school went out to California. I love talking about my hometown in California. It's the town I claim. I don't claim Bullhead City, Arizona, usually. I claim Independence, California. Look that place up. You're in for a bit of a culture shock, just like I was when I moved there at 12 years old. That was, yeah. Regardless,
Arizona's still further south than Pennsylvania.
but it's not the South. Just because you're below the Mason-Dixon. Antarctica's below the Mason-Dixon. That's not the South.
Oh my. Well, no, it is below the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah. Pennsylvania is on the Mason-Dixon. Salt Lake City's below the Mason-Dixon. You want to call them the South?
What if you flip the Earth on its poles? Then you could say Antarctica is above the Mason-Dixon.
Pit stop.
You could say...
Grant Applegate.
I'm
bits
going
from
somewhere
second.
with this.
Well, Zach,
But I
let's look
don't
at
know there.
this. Is this potentially... I mean, certainly he's not going to pit again after this, right? We're inside of 80 to go.
You shouldn't have to
down the
unless it's
pit
a late race
lane.
run.
I mean, if he does, it would only be for tires. This is kind of an early stop, though, for him. 54 laps completed as of this pit stop for Applegate. This feels a tad early. We'll see if anybody responds. 4 tires down and away for him. I think this is just an undercut attempt to try and get time on Bowling, and this is the moment where if I'm Bowling, I'm telling myself, man, I gotta just stay disciplined, run the race. A caution could come out and really stick Applegate in the back of the field. Granted, he's currently in a lucky dog position, but you've just got to stay disciplined, run your race. The trouble for Bowling is guys like Lockett, Ivy, West, Bollinger. They have this opportunity now to maybe also short pit, undercut, get tires on it, and try to get some faster laps in. I will say the fall off, it's evident, and it will make a difference looking at just how much these guys have fallen off over the course of the run. Lap time comparison on the way in just a moment. And here you go. This will be your top 4, well, your top 3 plus the guy that was in the top 4 but pitted. So you see Bowling 22.7 pretty much, and Lesko nearly a 22.8. Applegate was in the 21s that first lap. Now it looks like he's in traffic. Well, maybe not. That lap a 22.2. As he works to put time on those guys that have not yet pitted. He is making up a bunch of time. He's right behind Charlie Hunter. And for reference, Hunter is 8th. And Applegate, 21.6. He's rolling the outside of Hunter now. He's got Bollinger and West directly ahead. Where do you go here if you're Applegate?
Forward.
Well, sure. That's easier said than
He's
done.
He's gonna go right behind the 01 of West. Slot in line. He's gonna make a quick move. There it is. Quick move down to the bottom. Ran a 22.22.
Pit stops.
Into the pit lane.
That's Phillips. That's Murphy. They come in here just shy of 170 complete. This feels a bit closer for sure. Still on the early side of halfway on the stage. Halfway on the stage, by the way, would be about 10 laps from now. So this is still on the earlier side, but this confirms that these guys will need to pit once within this stage, at least for tires to stay competitive.
Well, I'm starting to wonder if, in some way, shape, or form, Applegate got held up. Let's look at that. He's in front. Well, no, he didn't get held up in any way. He's in front of Phillips on the ticker, 21.8 for Grant Applegate, and then even the fastest guy outside of Applegate, so Bowling, Hedgecock, and Lesko, the fastest between all 3 of them is Bowling, and he is still a second slower than Grant Applegate.
Well, Applegate definitely got held up. We saw it in real time as he got stuck behind the 01 and I think behind another couple of cars, but he's going to make up a ton of time still because he's able to run, 21.8 there. As up the racetrack goes Holdcroft, and Applegate passes Lesko, who runs second. He'll soon be running down our race leader of Tyler Bowling. That will put him on the lead lap. You see that time, a second faster. Still, there's the caution. That's not going to do him any favors. Lane Phillips around.
Phillips, one of the drivers that just pitted, but at least for Applegate, he will be in the free pass position. So he'll be able to get that car back on the lead lap.
Sure.
And now we take a look.
But what's the trade-off of getting a lucky dog, Zach?
Starting at the tail end of the longest line.
Exactly.
And that is the tail end of the longest line, as Phillips has a very controlled run down to the inside wall. But Applegate will have to start behind the wave-around cars, behind the lap-down cars, behind everybody. You see Phillips just gets a little free off of turn 2, does a great job locking it down, but iRacing declared that is a caution.
And now we see pit stops for all the leaders. This is going to set the tone for the rest of the race and could potentially win or lose you this Intentional Wreck Podcast 180 at Richmond. What is it going to be? I mean, got to be 4 tires across the board, right?
Has to be. It's the only thing that's going to keep you in
Rolling
this fight.
down and away. Lesko follows the run off the pit lane for everybody else. There they go. Lockett gets out ahead of Hedgecock. Did Lockett take 2? Or was it just a really fast pit stop? Let's see.
Good enough.
It is 4. We just saw it a little bit there rewinding, but here's the real-time playthrough. There you see rights and then lefts. So Lockett does take 4 tires, and he will get out ahead of Bryce Hedgecock. That is significant. We've seen flashes of pace out of Lockett at times, but definitely not Tyler Bowling kind of pace.
Well, we still got a lot of racing left to run. You never know what's going to end up happening. And this caution, obviously, like we've talked about, throws a monkey wrench into a lot of different things. You know, I try not to bring it up too much when it's not relevant, but someone popped on driver radio. I wasn't able to get a clear indication of who it was, but someone popped on driver radio right as the caution was coming out and said, "You guys probably just don't like strategy." I mean, it's kind of funny, realistically thinking about it, because every time we start getting some strategy into play, the caution ends up coming out.
Well, we're going to see plenty of strategy, I think, next week in New Hampshire. 175 laps there, and then certainly, I would imagine, some strategy at Darlington as well. A couple of racetracks that demand a workout atop the pit box. Gateway right after that, so some strategy races happening here in the back end of summer. Then we'll get to some more straight-up racing kind of races, I think, as we get into the fall of 2026. Fan cam restart coming at you. Bowling, Lesko, Lockett, Hedgecock, your top 4. Green flag again here in the later stages of the IWP 180 at Richmond. Up the racetrack in 3 and 4. Bowling giving some daylight there to Lesko. Lockett with trouble. There goes Ivy. Spinning. Big accident on the front stretch. We've got cars everywhere.
Did Applegate make it through that?
I think he did. This is going to be a big one. It starts up with that 8 car. Watch this. He just got loose. Bollinger piles in. Hunter, West, Graham, Mackey, and look at Newbron down through the grass to miss it. He wasn't the only one. This is going to demand a few replays. Here we go. High at the top. This will be interesting. Mackey straight into it through Graham. Holdcroft. I see Vincent gets a piece. Great shutdown by Murphy. And you see that right just snaking through the center. Let's take his onboard here.
In the great words of one Mr. Daryl Cartrip, look at that! McQueen made it through!
Oh, wow. He did, ever so slightly, I think, tickle the left rear of that car. Here's a look at it. Wait for it, as he tries to snake through all of this, just trying to pick the right way to go. Boom, yeah, a little bit of a door bang there to Graham. But even Terry Vincent and Terrence Murphy, that was really incredible from a handful of these drivers getting through all of this. Here's a look at it from Murphy.
Can't see. We're good.
And honestly, look at that for Vincent, too. Let's get a look back at it here. Let's go with the drones. Watch the 1 car. He ends up getting a little bit of it, and so he has come in for service, Zach, but frankly, this could have been a whole lot where, well, he got hit pretty hard. Never mind. He got hit a lot harder than I thought.
If he didn't get hit in the rear, he wouldn't have missed it in front. Just saying.
Yeah, probably. That's fair. No pit stops out of our leaders. The top 6 stay out. That's Bowling, Lesko, Hedgecock, Lockett, Ivy, and Newbra. Interesting that TJ Ivy stays out. He was one of the cars spinning to start all of that. And as such, he will go to the rear. Meanwhile, Applegate pits, Bollinger pits, Graham, West, everybody else in for service under this yellow, more or less. So as we get down towards the end of this race, we saw the schedule a little bit prior. A big thank you to the partners that make it possible. Grid Gold, Ivy Designs, Fish Speed Brakes. The Ivy Designs pole award this evening going to Charlie Hunter. And that Fish Speed restart zone, not only has it been important on the restarts, but specifically when one lap is complete, we're seeing guys get loose off of turn 4. And so that Fish Speed, I wonder if they laid down some fish oil over there before the race, because it is
Fish
slick.
oil?
It is slick.
But fish oil?
Well, Fish Speed, fish oil, you know. Restart on the way.
Okey-dokey.
Fish Speed restart zone, here we go. Inside of 60 to go at Richmond. In the wall, that was Lesko and Lockett. Look at Newbra into the top 5. Applegate is right there. And Hedgecock has to check up. It is the 3 IWP teammates at the front of the field. The International Rec Podcast cars, the 99, the 10, the 18, they lead the way. Lockett, 4th, right behind them. Applegate on his back bumper. And then you had the battle with Newbra, with Bollinger, with Murphy. Newbra had an absolutely abysmal day at Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago. Another bad day at Iowa last week. I jinxed the guy. And here he is. I'm not going to interview him because I don't think he wants that. But he is having a better run. Does get loose there on the inside of turn 4. Give a couple of these spots up. But man, he gained a lot of track position by missing that crash in the front stretch. And that has reinvigorated this race for car number 6. Lockett and Hedgecock. That's the battle for 3rd.
Lockett having a bit of a resurgence. Trying to put himself back further forward where he knows he can be, to the inside of Hedgecock. Got a bit of a run off with turn number 2, but he can't quite get it done. Down in the 3, they're still going to be side by side. Lockett just trying to get the power up off the corner. He just can't quite get it done.
You see Applegate right behind these two. Any slip up they might make, that Ford Mustang is ready to pounce. We approach 50 laps to go, and just another lap or two. You see the sun dipping deeper and deeper below the horizon. These two still fighting it out. And this is just for 3rd spot.
Still side by side up off the corner. These guys are not going anywhere.
Side by side, they will not quit. This is the greatest battle on the racetrack. Although there are some others to look at. Here's Newbra. He's losing a spot to Ivy again. Petty right behind him. You see Wingfield and Moore. There is a lot of action on this racetrack. It just so happens that this outranks them. 3rd position, maybe soon for 2nd. They are actually catching Nate Lesko in the 10.
It's amazing when you can fight side by side and still catch the car in front. And they are making it work.
I thought for a moment there Hedgecock was going to have him clear to 3. I was getting the call ready, and no. Might get him here off of turn 4. Lockett, though, still on the inside. Going to poke his nose right back down underneath. Will not give this up just yet. He might have to here soon, as off the corner, Hedgecock has the run. Lockett is not going to give it up. Finally, Hedgecock is clear for a moment, and yes, he's got that spot. So finally, third place is decided for the time being. That was a while, and then immediately Hedgecock gets the wall. Lockett looks back to the inside, no dice.
Up the racetrack a little bit goes Hedgecock.
Yeah, they aren't done.
Not a lot of laps left.
No, we are right at the end of this race, nearly 40 laps to go in just a couple of moments. And at Richmond, 40 goes by pretty quick. Here we go. Battle between the 6, the 15, the 24. This is outside of the top 5. It's right inside the top 10, though. Graham is 9th, battling with Newbraw for the spot. Petty is 11th. There's actually a break. Winkfield here is not for position. The next car behind these guys for position is Charlie Hunter in 12th.
Wingfield all the way up to the wall behind these guys.
Really good battles. Newbraw has the spot for now. That is for 9th. Petty right behind. He's had a rough race. Rusty Rafferty earlier mentioning he wanted to take this car for Best in Show. We don't do Best in Show here. I guess we could. Chris Mackey, DMs, you know where to find me. But we do the, or we've done the Best in Show contest in the BRB Racing League the last couple of seasons. Last night was our swan song broadcast with them. And I gotta be honest, Zach, I would put this car in the running. There are some fantastic ones, and before this race ends, I guess we could look through a bunch of them. There's your race leader. I would put him in the running, along with his sister car, Bryce Hedgecock, in the 18, the Intentional Wreck podcast machines at the front of the field. Nate Lesko certainly has a good one as well. I really like this. It's an art car without being too dramatic. It's still dramatic, it's just not too dramatic. Then you got Zach Lockett here, the Goat Locker Racing diecast, number 93. I like purple. I'm a sucker for purple. So I like it. This to me, no offense to anybody in the 57 camp, it's not that exciting. It's an inverse of Kyle Larson. It's not a bad paint scheme by any means. It looks good. It's just a little less exciting. This, however, while it is that same Busch Light format as you see for Ross Chastain, I like it. It looks good. Terrence Murphy. I personally have never had a bag of Grippos, but I know it's like a Midwestern thing, specifically the Cincinnati area, you know, Southern Ohio, Northern Kentucky. I've got a friend, Trey Patton. Sometimes he tunes in. Trey, hello if you are. Trey Patton is from that area, just south of the Ohio-Indiana border within Kentucky. Actually, from Owensboro, just like the Waltrips. TJ Ivey, good looking number 8 car here. I do like the gold. Newbraw, the number 6, it's, well, pretty plain. That's not a bad thing. We need some plain Jane race cars. There's Petty again. Feel free to stop me, Zach, if you find one you really like. There's Graham. I do like the texture down the door. You've also got, I mean, I know you said you liked this car earlier. Speaking of Kentucky.
I like the design. I didn't know if it was like a football or a
Sports team, yeah.
A football or a basketball team or a baseball
team. Well,
team.
it's the college team as a whole, so it's the school in general. It could be any of their teams. I'm sure he's a fan of all of them. He gets by Jesse Graham. Behind them, you've got Stephen Blevins, and he's in a whole gaggle of cars. You see Chris Mackey right behind. I do like that. That's a good-looking monster paint scheme. Brandon Banks, the Red Bull look there from Trackhouse. Kevin West, I don't see a car. Daniel Holdcroft, kind of plain Jane, not bad. Lane Phillips, I'm a sucker for Grey Ghost. I still have an email that makes use of it that I sent back in 2009 when Dale Jr. Maybe it was 08 when Dale Jr. ran the Grey Ghost, number 88 at Charlotte. Terry Vincent, Ross Chastain vibes, but good work to get the Juicy Spider logos incorporated. There's Damon Bernhardt. Boy, that's a bit of a blast from the past for Bonanza on the car. And then Rayshawn Wingfield not having a great night, but good looking at least in the 35 car. With that little detour out of the way, Zach, we're now down nearly to 30 to go. Nothing has changed amongst the top 5. And these guys are all just stuck. They're on the same strategy, more or less. They don't expect to pit again. I don't even know if a caution would change a whole lot up, other than having a restart opportunity. I think you would have to just come in and get tires if a caution came out.
Would you? I mean...
Yeah. It's been 30 laps on this set already.
But, like, track position.
Oh!
Oh, boy.
Bollinger gets into the side of TJ Ivy. Great job by Ivy to hang on. This is the battle. Well, it was for 7th. Now it'll be for 8th, maybe, as Bollinger checks up a little bit. We could still get that caution, Zach. Anything is possible.
We very much could.
I will say, early in the evening, I would have said this racetrack was giving us action track vibes again. Suddenly, we're at a very green flag look where everybody's spaced out. There are some battles, like we see here, Bollinger and Newbra, but it has very much tapered off. This race has gotten quiet in a hurry. I think as these guys just kind of realize, hey, we need to get to the end. We've wadded a lot of cars up tonight. Just get to the end of this thing. Survive to the checkered flag. Maybe then if there's an opportunity to fight in the last 20 or even last 10, maybe then they get wheel to wheel, door to door. But it has been a very green flag look here in stage 3.
It has. It's very similar to the NASCAR Cup Series race. They had a very, very green flag stage in their race not too many days ago. Just this last past Saturday.
On board Charlie Hunter, he is 11th. Kind of a fall off for him from how dominant he was at Indianapolis and even decent again last week at Iowa, and then pole position in qualifying tonight. Would have thought he would have at least led a lap, if not several. Didn't lead that first lap. That went to Bowling, I do believe, and Newbra loose off of turn 4. Maybe an opportunity for Hunter to get back in the top 10, but he is just not having the night he would like to, that's for sure.
Well, as we roll, Andrew, we're coming up on 20 laps to go. And the fight for the lead is still pretty well separated, about half a second between Lesko and Bowling. And then it's a further 9/10 of a second back to Hedgecock. Then it's Lockett, Applegate, Murphy, Ivy, Bollinger, Petty, and Hunter. Your top 10.
Yeah, I mean, they are all trying. There just isn't a whole lot happening at the front of the field right now. The battles are deeper in this group. This is your top 5 from the perspective of Grant Applegate, who runs 5th. I think they are all just so even. There's nowhere to go. You're stuck. Meanwhile, Bollinger, Petty, and others, they have got themselves a fight here. Hunter into the top 10 for the time being as he gets by Newbra on the 6. And Zach, I suppose it's 20 laps to go nearly. May as well go ahead and talk about it. The North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. I mean, certainly conventionally, I would think the 99 car, but who you got?
Oh boy. Well, I think I'll take Murphy. He's up 20 spots. I believe I picked him last week at Iowa as well. He had moved up quite a few spots. He seems to have a trend of moving through the field. I think he'd be a solid pick for driver of the day for the second week in a row.
Up 20 positions in this race. He is definitely doing some work.
And then I think my second pick, I don't know. I think I'll take Zach Lockett. Done a phenomenal job right now to stay inside the top 5, even after getting caught up in a few incidents not of his own doing. So, a good rebound for that 93 car.
And looking over to my couple of nominations, I definitely wanted to go Murphy. So you're taking a page out of my book there, making it a little challenging. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to grab Michael Newbraw for the circumstance. He is around that chase cut line. In fact, he comes into tonight just 2 points to the good. Nick Mills having a bad race. This is an opportunity that Newbraw needs to take advantage of to get all the points he can. I don't know that he got any stage points earlier, but hey, finishing at least around the top 10, that will help you out big time to make the chase for the championship this season. Oh, hang on, guys. Let's not do any more of that. That was a little scary, that's for sure. And I've got to go ahead and go to the race leader here. 147 laps led. That will easily be over 150 here very, very soon. I will say, this guy, I know he said somewhere he was not racing. I struck him out of the fantasy picks. Unless it was for a different race and I misunderstood, I could have sworn this guy wasn't even going to race. We struck him out on fantasy, and here he is. 150 laps led the next time around the flag stand. Easily the most dominant driver here this evening, and he has to be in the driver of the day vote, in my opinion. That vote now live over on YouTube. You can participate in the YouTube chat. That is a poll integrated straight into YouTube chat. You've just got to go over there, open the YouTube stream. You can even vote, I've learned, from smart TVs and Xboxes and stuff. You can vote from those platforms. Just got to navigate through the menus a little bit there, but you can do it. Ah, Brandon Finlay giving us some information. Yes, he was not going to make it, and then his work schedule changed as he works night shift, and you know what? Thankfully, they did end up changing that to allow him to be able to run this race, because clearly this is going to be a big win for him, and he needs it. Despite having a win this season, he is actually the lowest of all drivers with wins in the standings. Comes into this evening's race in 13th. He desperately needs a bunch of points, and he is earning them. He should absolutely pass Wingfield, Banks, maybe even catch up to Mackey when this night is through. And going into New Hampshire and Daytona, that is going to be a big safety net for him. He's not going to be entirely safe, but it's going to be a whole lot better of a situation for that 99 car next week when we unload in New Hampshire. I will say, Zach, as much as I'm touting up the number 99, Lesko has caught right up to his teammate. It was these two last week at Iowa. Here we are. Richmond. The track is similar. I seem to recall mentioning the fact that tracks are similar and wondering whether or not we would see these two battle for it again, and here they are.
Didn't I mention that the tracks were similar?
I'm sure we both did, frankly.
This is what happens when I don't fully know what's going on anymore. But this only happens because, I don't know, I sleep through 15 alarms on Sunday mornings for AR, and don't take my word for anything at this point.
Well, we're inside of 10 to go, 9 to go this time by. There are other battles around the field, one of them being Jeffrey Petty and Colin Bollinger. This is for position number 8. They've each been in a couple of incidents. Petty, an early incident in this race. He's rebounding. Bollinger's been in a couple of the front stretch stack-ups. They are side by side. Also, not too far ahead of Bowling and Lesko. These guys, Mackey, Graham, Banks, 3 cars under a blanket. This is 12th, 13th, 14th. Watch out here, guys. There we go. Graham lifts, lets him go. We are not out of the woods, and Nate Lesko trying to run down his teammate, not just put pressure on Bowling, but try to get this spot away. Look at some lap times throughout the field. You see as Levins goes up to the wall, Bowling a little faster than Lesko that lap. Hedgecock a little slower, Applegate a little slower. It's really just these two.
Running out of time, running out of laps.
Bowling works high in 1 and 2.
Here comes Let's Go. Big shot to the inside. Can't get there. The lap cars are coming up, Andrew. Maybe they start playing a factor with 5 laps to go at the line.
Brandon Finley confirming a suspicion I had. Makes a lot of sense that they are picking up sponsorship for this event. You see that logo top right of your screen, the Intentional Wreck Podcast logo? That is the Richmond Raceway outline. I thought it was. That is the home track of the Intentional Wreck Podcast. And for them to lock down first, second, third at this point in time, Lockett might get to Hedgecock, but I don't think so. It's a 1.2 second gap, 4 laps to go. Their team looks to have this thing locked down 1, 2, 3. No matter who wins it, what a run.
Absolutely. It's been a solid performance tonight. And as the lap cars roll up, I mean, realistically, with how quickly they're dispatching of them, I don't think the leaders are going to have any problem holding the margins that they already have as they get up to these lap cars. Down to the bottom line, Bowling gets a little bit stacked up through the center of the corner. And we're ready to go, but he makes quick work, puts a car in between. But that all changes as they roll back to the flag stand, Andrew. 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks in the air for Bowling in the 99. Well, he's only got about a 1.5 miles left to go.
Soon, less than a mile. Tyler Bowling pulling up, potentially on Chris Mackey to put him a lap down. It's been a rough night for the 9 car, but the 99, domination, white flag at Richmond, brought to you by Whiplash SimCam's final time around for the Intentional Wreck Podcast trio. The Intentional Wreck Podcast, rock and roll 180 at Richmond. Sure, we knew to watch out for these guys. I did not think they'd go 1, 2, 3, checkered flag in the air this time around for Tyler Bowling. 1, 2, wait for it, 3 at Richmond.
You know, Andrew, when we were being taught our numbers in kindergarten or preschool even, it was 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, 3. Seems like there's a little bit more time there between 2 and 3.
Well, I was waiting on the 18 car to get to the line, Zach, but it's all about building that anticipation.
Well, I can tell you for certain that this win for Tyler Bowling is legend. Wait for it. Dairy. Please tell me you got that joke.
This is not Indianapolis. We don't have any milk for Bowling to drink.
Please tell me you got the joke.
I wonder if you got mine. We'll talk about it later as Bowling does a quick burnout on the front stretch. Look, we go back and forth constantly with different references that we each do not understand. We've been friends for like 5 years, but we still do it to each other. And anyways, checkered flag for Tyler Bowling and the Intentional Wreck Podcast. Rock and roll 180 at Richmond. The action track. I would like to see the asphalt sealer days come back. That I think would just put the icing on the cake for this place. Unofficial race results, Tyler Bowling out front. 165 laps led. Look, it's been a little while since we've seen a spanking quite like that in one of these sim races. Just 75 laps going to other drivers. An impressive day for Tyler Bowling, somebody who at the beginning of the week didn't think he'd be here. That's just insane. Nate Lesko, Bryce Hedgecock, that's your top 3. We'll be talking to the entire team here in just a couple of moments. Lockett, Applegate 4th and 5th, just nothing they could have done to upset those top three. Murphy 6th, Ivy 7th, Petty 8th, Bollinger and Hunter your top 10. And Zach, look, I do not mean to brag, at least not too much. However, I did pick 3rd, 4th, and 6th here in this race on my fantasy team.
Someone likes to toot his own horn.
Hey man, yeah, I guess so.
Well, outside the top 10, Michael Newbraw ends up in the 11th spot with Brandon Banks ending up 12th, and Newbraw needed a good run. He ends up in the 11th spot. That's probably going to end up helping him when it comes to his chase hopes. But time is running out with 2 races left to run before the chase. Behind Banks in that 13th position is Chris Mackey. He's the first car 1 lap down. And then it's Jesse Graham, Stephen Blevins, Kevin West, Daniel Holdcroft. That would be 14th through 17th. And then 18th, you'll have Terry Vincent. Ends up 3 laps down. 5 laps down for Jamin Bernhardt. And then Rayshawn Wingfield ends up 6 laps down. Only 5 to 6 cars left after that. You've got Lane Phillips, Austin Thompson, Jacob Hoskins, Nick Mills, Nicholas Martinez, and Nathan Brzezowski that saw all of about the first 20 opening laps, almost the first opening 30 laps before that motor took an early expiration with an outside contact to the wall.
And yet it was Tyler Bowling grabbing his 2nd win on the season. It seems like that is the ceiling, however. Nobody with more than 2 wins yet. Tyler, are you going to be the guy to change that? I mean, less than a week ago, we thought you weren't making the race. I scratched you out of fantasy, realizing only today that you're racing. I kind of feel bad for everybody who couldn't pick you. I mean, a near perfect race.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to work. I work night shift, so I was able to get it off. I changed it on the poll, but you guys already saw it. Voted no for it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about win 3. I don't know about New Hampshire next week. That's really up in the air. But yeah, it's cool. Good race tonight. Teammate Nate definitely was making me nervous there towards the end. And obviously, like Applegate, he had amazing speed on the top side there. I don't know how he was doing it, but yeah, it was fun.
And I seem to recall a little bit, last week talking about the similarities between Iowa and Richmond and how well you guys did. Iowa, would it translate to Richmond? I think clearly the translation worked.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the way I like to drive most tracks. It's just easier on the right front. It sacrifices short run speed. I don't know how to get more short run speed, but it just translates well on these tracks that burn their tires up a little bit more, and I can kind of use that to my advantage.
And this is going to position you well for the chase. I mean, I'm not going to say you're a lock yet or anything with 2 races to go, especially one of those being Daytona, but this has to alleviate a lot of pressure, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. As long as I can just finish well, get some points, I'm not worried about Daytona. I can just go in there and just have a fun race, try to help my teammates win and stuff like that, and just enjoy myself.
Tyler, congratulations. Kicking off this little run to the chase really, really strongly. How cool is it as well to get this win for Intentional Wreck Podcast at the home track?
Oh, it's amazing. Just to tell more about that. So, like, yeah, it is a podcast, but like, I don't run the podcast. The guy who runs his name's Brandon Finley. He might have messaged you with some details about it. But
oh yeah, he was in YouTube chat.
Heck yeah, awesome. Yeah, so like they created this like Discord, Xbox League, NASCAR 25, and honestly, it wasn't for him and the guys who run that podcast and Discord. Like I would have never gotten iRacing. Like I bought NASCAR 25 last fall, met these guys, and a couple of us went over to iRacing because of them, and just have a lot of fun. It's a really awesome community. So shout out to you guys if you guys are still listening.
I'm sure they are. Their drivers just went 1, 2, 3. I mean,
yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 for you guys. Got to be cool. Congrats, and hey, hopefully we'll talk to you next week up in the Granite State.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
You as well. It's Tyler Bowling, 165 lead here, Zach. It's Nate Lesko second. I don't think it's going to compare at all.
I don't think so, but Lesko ends up getting it done in that 2nd spot. P2 out of the 1, 2, 3 for the Intentional Wreck Podcast trio. But what a job for you guys. You did a phenomenal job of staying in the hunt and keeping yourselves in good contention for this race win, but you just fell a little short of getting one spot higher up on the podium. What do you think it was going to take for you to get that one spot left on the racetrack tonight?
I don't know. Controlling the pace in the beginning or just getting clean air. And honestly, Tyler's so much better than me earlier in the race, so I was just trying to learn a little bit following behind him the last run there. Felt like I did a good job of just hanging on, but I don't think I was gonna be able to go around him, honestly.
And then I gotta say, because I asked a couple of the guys earlier, I asked one guy earlier actually, what do you feel like you were driving off more at this track? Because Andrew and I floated around the possibility of, with it being a flatter racetrack, you're driving the right rear off a little bit more, especially with how it snaps on exit. But some of them were saying they were driving off the right front. So do you feel like you're driving that right front off or that right rear?
It's funny. It's a different person to person which one they're wearing more. So I'm right front. Tyler's right rear. Not sure what Bryce was, but it's just how you drive it. I was definitely burning the right front more. I was really tight there.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a tight track sometimes, especially when you're driving it heavy into these corners and sailing it off for all the marbles at the end of these races. But you came up in the second spot. You did a great job to hang on to it. And, well, you're rolling away from Richmond with some solid points. So congratulations on your second place finish. And hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week as we roll through New Hampshire.
I hope so.
And that was Nate Lesko, your second place finisher, Andrew. And standing by, our third place finisher, that's going to be the number 18 of Bryce Hedgecock.
And I felt kind of bold when I picked this guy out of Group 3 on the fantasy game this week, but clearly it paid off. You actually finished the highest of my 3 picks, Bryce. What about Richmond clicks for you?
I don't know, man. I really like short tracks. Something about shifting, using my left foot. I don't know what it is, but I felt like this would be a really good track for me. I said I wanted a good points day. We got that done. The team finished 1, 2, 3, so that's all them, man. I'm grinning like a kid on Christmas morning right now.
And Santa dropped off a hell of a finish here. 38 laps led. You get all these points. The stages, I'm sure, counted a bunch for you. This is going to flip your whole situation into New Hampshire next week. Another track where you're using that left foot. Do we see a similar kind of run?
I don't know about all that. A lot of good cars got taken out tonight. Yeah, probably not quite as good at New Hampshire. I consider Richmond probably my best track, but we'll keep plugging at it. I'm not going to get as lucky and have all those guys get taken out next week, but we'll see. Just keep plugging at it and keep trying to get good finishes, and it'll work itself out.
Have you seen a sim race at New Hampshire? That can get crazy. All it takes is one guy breaking loose off of turn 2, which, I mean, begs the question, have you tested there yet in this car recently? I'm sure it isn't too much different from what it would have been last year, but how much experience do you have in this car at New Hampshire?
I have not ran a single A-class race at New Hampshire. I've only been on iRacing for about 8 months, so I've never been there. I've obviously tested it, but we'll see. I imagine it's going to be kind of the same thing, lean on the right front. Probably some self-spins on the exit of 2 and 4. So we'll see. I mean, theoretically, it should be somewhere I like, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. We'll see how it goes, though.
Well, then I suppose it's fair to say maybe you haven't seen a sim race at New Hampshire. Let me tell you, I've got trauma. It gets a little crazy. The exit of the corners, it's just like here at Richmond, actually, which is also pretty similar to Iowa. The exit of the corner, banking follows away, and suddenly it's an ice skating rink. Bryce, best of luck as you get to learn that racetrack. Hey, at least the NASCAR series are there this week. It gives you some laps.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to go to a few officials and fill it out.
Sorry to scare you for them, but best of luck. It's going to be a whirlwind for you.
All right, thanks, guys. And also, shout out everyone at IWP that was watching, listening to this. That was an awesome time. I appreciate the team, Nate, Tyler, those guys. That was a good time. Thanks, you guys.
Absolutely. 1, 2, 3 for the 3 of you. Congrats.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bryce Hedgecock, a huge run here at the Richmond Raceway. And again, I mean, this flips his season. He was 23 out coming into tonight, says that Richmond's his best track, and that is oh so clear. Let's pull those standings back up. So, I mean, just rolling through this briefly. Lockett, a good night. Applegate, a good night. Brzezowski, disaster. Hunter, kind of in between. Bollinger, also kind of in between. Lesko, great night. West, not so great. He finished 16th. TJ Ivey, also kind of in between. Ended up 7th at the end of it. Not sure how many stage points he had. Nick Martinez, going to lose a bunch. He's right back in danger zone these next couple of races, as will be Chris Mackey and Brandon Banks and Rayshawn Wingfield. But Tyler Bowling going to dig himself out of the hole a good bit. Austin Thompson, it's not looking good. He finished down in 22nd. He stayed with it, Zach. I give him props there, but...
Newbraw, though. Newbraw finished 11th, and Nick Mills way down the running order.
Yeah, Newbraw is going to pick up. Mills will not. Blevins, honestly, will end up picking up a little bit, I think, right? Where did he finish? 15th. So he should be around 16th, depending on how this all looks. Murphy, also a great finish. It'll be some movement around there for sure. Petty ended up finishing okay, despite the early caution. 8th place for Petty. He's going to be moving up. Hedgecock, again, flipping the script for the 18 car in one race tonight. He should be on the, I guess, on the inside of the cut line, I would think. Terry Vincent, decent run. It didn't end too well, 18th. He's going to be probably around the same spot. And then Dalton Tucker, Kip Easley, they didn't race. Jamin Bernhardt did. That should flip those spots around. So New Hampshire next week is going to look very, very different for most of this points graphic. And we were just there with ARN this past Sunday, Zach. I mean, what should we expect for these guys?
I'm not totally sure. I think it's safe to say that there are very different respective racing styles between guys like who are in ARN and guys who are in the Full Send Cup Series. And I don't mean that in some sort of passive-aggressive type way. I more so mean that in terms of skill level. We all see the guys in ARN are a little bit on the lower side of the iRating scale, whereas these guys are a little bit more on the higher end of the iRating scale. They've been involved in a lot more diverse leagues, had a little bit more diverse type of driving styles they've had to adapt to between different cars. So I think we'll see these guys tackle that track in a much different capacity than some of the guys in the ARN will. And ultimately, I think it's going to make for a bit of a wildly different race than we saw on Sunday.
And as much as I hate to put this graphic back out because of my own snafu, we are not Full Send Cup racing tomorrow night. That is the Sim Auto Racing Association Oarsman Ford of Manassas National Tour. Sarah Super Late Models on the track tomorrow night at Oxford Plains. It is the first of 2 days of coverage for us at Oxford. It's the third day overall of the week at Oxford for these guys. That's the Oxford 250 tomorrow night, but we will have the 40-lap Legends race leading into it. And then we have 2 40-lap Legend races on Friday, leading into a 100-lap street stock race with the Whiplash Racing League Legends Tour, but also in cooperation and partnership, really, with, I think, Only Short Tracks and Misfit and MRL, Misfit Racing League, and then also Sarah, obviously, would be the other league in there. So that'll be a really interesting night of racing at Oxford. And then you see Monday evening, we actually come right back here, Zach, with the Nora Retro Cup Series. Now we have kind of an idea of what to expect a little more. We saw that race be very interesting, I think, back in the spring. A little bit of a lower car count in that one. Hopefully we're filling the back gate here when we come back next week for Nora.
Yeah, it's going to be a different ball game seeing these Gen 4 cars here at Richmond rather than seeing the next gen race car on this racetrack. But plenty of places to follow along on social media for all of the great content and great racing that we have here on Pit Stop TV. I'm looking forward to tomorrow when we get to have a little bit fun with the Sarah guys, and then heck, we've even got some Legend racing. Yeah, we have Legends racing Thursday and Friday, and then so much more racing to boot. And I'm here for it. I am here for every single step of it.
Gonna be a lot of fun. It's a big night. It's coming up still as the week comes to a close very, very soon. A big thank you again to the partners with the series. That's Grid Gold, Ivy Designs, Fish Speed Brakes, It was not the Ivy Designs pole sitter, though, leading a single lap. That was trouble for the number 72. And let me not forget about that driver of the day vote. Interviews are over. Let's go ahead and wrap that up. How about that going to Tyler Bowling? Of course, brought to you by the North American Racing League. That is a big one for Tyler and that number 99. And a big thank you to our partners here at the channel, Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murder C Sports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and TZO Designs. Thanks so much for watching this evening. It has been a pleasure as always. That's it for us, though, from the Richmond Raceway here on August 19th this year, just moving right along. Only a couple of races to go for the regular season here in full send. 2 more, in fact. We're picking fantasy for these next couple as well, and the rest of the season. Do not miss out on that. But for tonight, the Intentional Wreck Podcast Rock and Roll 180. Congratulations to all 3 of those IWP cars out front. Bowling, Lesko, Hedgecock, your top 3. Everybody chasing that trio into New Hampshire next week. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you at New Hampshire next week. Until then, make sure to tune in. Some more New England racing tomorrow night as we go to Oxford Plains for the Oxford 250. Do not miss it. We'll see you there.